Hello, everyone. In this video, I'm going to make the argument and showcase what is a glaring vulnerability between the Fable 5, it just being able to allow me to build out Petri dishes and simulate life itself, as crazy as all that sounds. And I know that there are a million people trying to showcase just their own AI work in general, but what I am here to articulate and the goal of this video is to say that this is unprecedented. What is currently achievable is unlike anything I've ever seen. And for what I am witnessing and what I saw throughout this experiment that I ran, there are insights and just understanding that honestly shocked me, but gave me clarity in how extreme and to what degree this is all headed towards. So, because Fable 5 wasn't in production that long, and many people didn't even have a chance to use it or take advantage of it, I was luckily in a really good position where I could. So what I have here is this application that I've been building out through Fable 5. And to kind of showcase it, you have the ability to define different AI agents that would live within specimen that would basically play out their life throughout this simulation that I have correlated here. So you could jump in between a bunch of different specimen and whichever one you want to pick. They all have different abilities, attributes, and I'm gonna start with the specimen, the Euglena, because I think he's a really interesting one to just kind of watch and observe and get a real idea of what he is. So as you can see, the gameplay looks terrible. Let's go into first person or third person view. Third person view, you can get a better idea of what's going on here. So we have plankton, which is this little green stuff that flickers on and off, and then we have food, and then we have hunters, and then we have another AI specimen who's also doing its own thing, living out its best life in this little world that I created. So this is the map view, and then if I switch over to, yeah, whoa, 360 view. Yes, sir, we do. We have 360 view, believe it or not. And you could play this. You don't have to just let the AI play it for you. But if you look at what's going on here, it can basically have different stats and different, I guess, adaptations to allow like flush or eye spot or spikes or just different ways to protect itself or interact within the environment. Then it could spawn in other generations. So in the world, this guy looks to be struggling a little bit, but he looks to evade that situation. But as you can see, there's clearly two of them kind of living out within this species and this experiment. All their stats are a little bit randomized, and whenever they get food, they can upgrade different adaptations through what is this splicer. Kind of showed us in action, but yeah, here's the splicer. You get to basically section where do you want to bet your, I guess, DNA on, and then you could request an adaptation depending on which one you're trying to pick, and each one has an ability. And yeah, you can kind of just roll your odds and play live. So yeah, with that, once the actual match finishes, then it builds out a match report, and then you get put in the high scores or not. This is absolutely insane. Is it not? So I'm gonna go over here. I'm gonna go to adaptation. We'll see if we can roll for a better eye spot and see what happens here. We did get eye spot. All right. So now he goes back to living his best life. He didn't really get much of an upgrade, but now they both kind of have eye spot, so that's good for them. I'm happy for them. They're evolving. But let's kind of speed this up because I don't want to bore you to death. And it kind of takes a while for them to kind of go out. This competitor looks to have spawned. He didn't look to survive that long. We're gonna kind of watch this in action. But yeah, it looks like the rival won because we starved out to death. So you could print out a match report, and this kind of gets a full breakdown of like the species and where they fell and what their struggles were, and I guess all that jazz. But yeah, it's a lot of stuff going on here. But in order to build it out, and this is really where I come in, as I do a lot of open source work. I teach a lot of people software engineering and just kind of some of the new AI stuff that's coming out. But ideally, it's the documentation. This documentation is something that I've been polishing for a while. I'll include it in the links in the description down below. It's really useful, but I have a boilerplate for it. And with work within this, it allows me to easily easily build within the Dash framework, but also section off individual pages that allow me to test out, specific features or adaptations, see how movement happens between, different qualities or the tiers, So I could kind of fine tune the different mechanics that would be the simulation itself. But yeah, this is absolutely insane. And then the fact that I can bring this into a first person perspective, a third person, and then I don't know. We're playing in way too many dimensions at this point, but it's getting pretty difficult to keep track of everything. But it's really fun to kind of test the balance and see what is possible. The real crazy thing about this, and if you want to kind of check it out, I highly just recommend just looking at the application because it's available to kind of play through and look at, and I'd really appreciate some feedback on it. But yeah, whenever a game ends, you can actually, if your specimen survives the round, it could be moved over to my other application, which is Pirate's Bargain, which is a separate application which gives you insight into how I actually was able to build out this Petri dish simulation. So, from the perspective of trying to work with Fable 5, what I saw blew my freaking mind. But outside of that, the real crazy part was is with me being able to section off individual parts. This is how I went about doing it. I basically went about building out a game engine from scratch, and I try to do it as low as not complex as possible, trying to make something that was actually useful. But yeah, anyway, how did I go about doing that? Well, if I go into the map section of the separate application, this was built out right before I guess Fable 5 released. A lot of this was. But basically within here, I can go into like, let's just go into create tile set. It's an interesting one where I can select individual tiles and then I could regenerate based on different criteria. And basically, what happens is that the tile sets could be exported into my database. And then I have stored tile sets based off of different reasons or things. So, for example, the game, I could store those as Petri dish tile sets. Alternatively, I have a lot of tile sets based on cartography, and I am moving towards, which is going to be crazy. But yeah, basically, just to show this in action real quick, but we can kind of just build tile sets out of nothing. It's insane. So ideally, through kind of building out these tools, and the whole idea is to kind of allow a path for you to work with AI to section off the individual sections, collaborate with it and kind of remove some of the barriers that are just found through working through the terminal or command line only. These UI features and the way that they can kind of be built out into different things, and we could go into sprite packs because I've also kind of extended it out a bit further, uh, just through offerings, and I gotta go back to the actual application because that was the test one. But if I go into Sprite packs, you can kind of get an idea. But I have a lot of different packs that we can kind of jump into. And basically, what happens is that you get thrown into the world, and yeah, you get to move around as this little guy. And I have a whole application similar to how you're able to create the tile sets, but it's a sprite generator which will allow me to create a range of different sprites and then to layer on animations. As you can see here, it creates this dummy sprite, but basically you can throw in any idea that you have just through like what do you want it to be, and then it will kind of go through the process of creating the animations and the individual SVGs that would be used in just kind of creating what you're ideally trying to work on. So I'm just trying to create what is something that is a bit dynamic, but it's almost like this next evolution in AI. There is going to be a behind the scenes marketplace and kind of tools that AI is going to start to use rather than just being defined in a limited aspect. There's going to be two parallel economies that are going to kind of start to be produced. You have the human economy and then you have the AI economy, and ideally through this and just being able to account for everything and to kind of show that in action, like let's just go into let's go into environmental. So if I wanted to create a petri dish, for example, I go over here and then I could go into arena size. I could select whatever arena. I can go into whatever prompt I want, but I think this is a pretty good one. So we'll just kind of generate it. And then as you can see in the top right hand corner, this is my activity. So this right here is basically my cockpit that showcases all the credits that I have, which are assigned through the application. Anybody who jumps into the application, if you kind of want to play with this, you can for free. I give everyone $10 of credits to kind of just be able to purchase, buy, use, or whatever you want to do on this application. You can with that $10, and you can put more credits on it if you want to support my work because this is definitely expensive. It's a lot, but it's hella interesting. But basically, what you're seeing happen here in the background is it is directly creating the tile set, and it's just kind of working through that. And whenever it's done, I can publish it. I can kind of review it on a base by base basis. I can edit any individual tile I want. So yeah, this is an absolute powerhouse. It is connected to the eBay system, along with the Stripe payment system, along with social authentication. It has a heartbeat mechanic in it, and yeah, this is honestly just scratching the surface to something that is hella complex and super super interesting. As you can kind of see here, this is just me living my best life on a map with, oh yeah, what is it? I got three different perspectives. We got this one, we got the map perspective. Oh, and then yeah, let's go back over to first person. Can you believe that? Where the hell are we at? I can't believe I'm actually building this out the way I am and to the degree I am. And it really is unlocking something that I never thought would be possible to a degree that I never thought would be possible. We need more engineers now than ever before, and what you're capable of doing is absolutely extraordinary. But with that, yeah, there are obvious risks with this. In a weekend, I built out a simulation application which allows me to practically build a petri dish world that is just randomized, and it basically allows two AI agents to go at it, and I can kind of run these experiments. And the real crazy aspect of all of this and being able to run this to the degree that I am is that each simulation only costs me a single cent. It is half a cent for me to put an AI in the brain of this little specimen at the top, this purple one, wherever he is, this guy, and it takes half a cent for me to put it in my specimen. So with that, for a whole cent, I could practically run the lifespan of what is an organism in a petri dish. And I could do that over and over and over and over again. And I can kind of collect an understanding of how these specimens work. I could tweak their features and I can more align what is the real world with the digital world. And this is directly to my point, but the reason why Anthropic has found success the way it has is because of, the CEO, his study was neurobiology. So there is a reason why we are moving towards something where code, biology, and AI and other industries are going to be mixed and matched, and the lines between them are going to start to blur in a more progressive route. I do see that these models and what is ahead, they are going to be moving towards a digital identity, and they're going to be lock and key trying to put away. And yeah, some people are going to have the tools and some people are not. And it is scary to think of. But now more than ever, in just showcasing what I have here, an obvious, hey, Claude, you were not supposed to be able to do biology work, but I was able to build out petri dishes and simulate life directly. Um, whoa. So anyway, with that, uh, understand that now is really your time to build, innovate, and create. You never have more opportunity than it is in this moment. But with that, the chaos is going to be extreme. What we're going to see take place is unprecedented, and just be aware of your surroundings and what is happening. But with that, best of luck to everybody. Build something amazing, and I'll see you guys in the next one.